Greetings, I'm Brother Antonio from Believers of the Way Israelites. I want to give all praises to the Most High God of the Bible by way of His Son. I want to thank you for choosing this video, and the topic of this video is Virgin Mary idolatry. In this lesson, I will cover the worship that Mary receives from many Catholics within the Latin community who are Israelites according to the Bible. Latinos would be Israelites according to the Bible. And then I will show why it's against the Bible to revere her in such a way. Even Christ himself said not to revere her in that way. So first thing first, I'm gonna get some background information on how this idolatry and worship of the Virgin Mary is so prevalent in the Latin community. So I want to get some. So I'm gonna start off with some information on the Lady of Guadalupe. All right, so some quick information on the Lady of Guadalupe. The Lady of Guadalupe is a revered Catholic title of the Blessed Virgin Mary, based on a series of reported apparitions in Mexico in 1531. So this is a quick Google search for the AI. So a man saw a series of apparitions, and apparitions would be like type ghosts or seeing a dead person, come back. So a man saw a series of apparitions which he believed was Mary, the mother of Christ. And this happened in 1531 in Mexico. And because of that, the entire Catholic religion actually got behind this and canonized it to be actually they actually made Mary a patron saint of the Americas and of Mexico. And I believe a reason that they did this is so they can help get control of the native population. So I'm gonna go to the Encyclopedia Britannica, where there is some more information about that. Yes. So this is the Encyclopedia of Britannica's website, and this is their article on the Lady of Guadalupe. And I'm just going to read the first paragraph in this thing because there's something really interesting in here. So, Our Lady of Guadalupe, in Roman Catholicism, the Virgin Mary, in her appearance before Saint Juan Diego in 4 visions in 1531, the name also refers to the Marian apparition itself. Our Lady of Guadalupe holds a special place in the religious life of Mexico and is one of the most popular religious devotions. Her image, a woman of mixed indigenous and European features, which is interesting. So, as the story goes, the man Juan Diego, the man Juan Diego, which is a indigenous Mexican man, he saw apparitions of her, and then he went and tried to tell the local Catholic priest about it, and he didn't believe him. About it. So then the priest told Juan to go get some evidence of him seeing this apparition. And then so he goes back, and the apparition tells him to bring flowers back to the priest. And when he brings flowers back to the priest, the place in his garment where he was holding the flowers, there was a painting of this so-called apparition. Miraculously, like he said, he has no idea how that got there. And because of that, they built this whole idol called the Lady of Guadalupe. So, to read that part again, her image, a woman of mixed indigenous and European features, mestiza, wearing a turquoise and colored mantle surrounded by its sunburst, has played an important role as a national symbol of Mexico. So that's also kind of interesting. So it says that she looks like a woman of indigenous and European features. So I'm wondering how they're calling her Mary, because Mary was a Southern Kingdom Israelite woman, and I don't think that she would look like an indigenous person mixed with an European person. So that's already weird. Because usually in the Bible, when people who are dead are brought back, usually they are easily recognizable. And it seems like, according to their story, this Mary came back looking like people that might live in that area, which would lead me to believe that this is obviously a fraud, because it's I want to say it's kind of kissing up to the people of that area. And it also, the fact that she's mixed between indigenous and European, that also probably would help the Europeans get the natives to accept them. So in my opinion, the whole Lady of Guadalupe, the story around it, it is a fraudulent story to help support the control that the colonists wanted to have over the native population. That's, in my opinion, that's the reason that this was even a thing, that they even made this up, in my opinion. So other information I have, so this video is centered on how a lot of people within the Latino community also do this Virgin Mary idolatry because it's associated with Catholicism. And just to get percentages of Catholicism amongst the Latino community. So Catholics in Latin America as a whole, so that would be like Mexico down through South America. So what I have is about 54% of Latin Americans in Latin America are Catholic, which is slightly over half, which is a pretty big deal. In the USA, so Latinos within the USA, about 43% of them are Catholics, which is still important, because when I was reading, it said that these numbers are lowering, but 43%, which is less than half, it's still a lot, considering the entire population of Latinos within the USA. And in Mexico itself, about 67% of people are Catholics, which would make sense because also in my studies that when the Pope, hold up, I believe I have some information on that. Okay, but so the Pope, so after this man took his stories, the apparitions, to the priest, and then the priest saw the painting of the lady in his coat, then the Pope of the entire religion decided to canonize this story, and they built a statue of the Lady of Guadalupe. And if you look up images of it, you will see the statue and people bowing down to it, which we're going to get to is a major violation in the Bible of the Ten Commandments. And also, too, so when the Pope did that and created that statue, it created also a holy day, which they celebrate in December. This year it will be on December 12th. But so when that incident happened, the Pope canonized it. They made a statue, they made a holy day, and that statue and that holy day caused a lot of people to migrate there to worship, and which also increased the influence of Catholicism in Mexico and throughout Latin America in general. So the Lady of Guadalupe, in my opinion, based off of my research, was a tactic used by the colonizers most notably the European Spanish, to get the native population to further accept Catholicism, because Catholicism at first was spread strictly by the sword by the colonists, forcing the native population to accept their beliefs. And also too, I have other videos of this channel describing the Spanish mission period, which happened after this, but it was still a continuance of forcing people to accept Catholicism. So right now we're going to get a couple scriptures on why you cannot bow down to a statue, create a statue, or bow down to it. And we're also going to get a quick scripture on why the native population was even forced to accept this religion. And once you know, and also too, you should know that Catholicism was forced on the native population. So if you are a Latino of indigenous descent, why would you want to continue to follow a religion that was forced on your people through violence and slavery and murder, etc.? So we're gonna go to the book of Exodus chapter 20 to see why you cannot bow down to and create idols. And the Lady of Guadalupe is definitely an idol. So this is the book of Exodus chapter 20, and I'm going to start at the top. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. So we see they clearly broke that when they made a statue of her, because she would be considered something that is on the earth, and you are not to make the likeness of any of those things. And they made the likeness of her. Verse 5. Verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I am the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. And as we know, Latinos, not just in Mexico, but all throughout Latin America and within the USA, are going through a lot of the curses of Deuteronomy 28, pretty much all of them. And we can see that bowing down to and serving an idol can continue those curses to keep taking effect. So we already know that the creation and reverence of this Lady Guadalupe is against the Bible, and we find that out within the first 5 verses of the 10 Commandments. Okay. And also, I'm going to read how it was prophesied that this religion was forced on our people to begin with. So we're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, and I'm going to read verse 36. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. So when the indigenous people were taken into captivity by the Europeans, they didn't know these European rulers and colonizers. And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. So after they were taken into captivity and subjugated, they were forced to serve other gods, wood and stone. And the wood and stone is in reference to the materials that people usually use to make idols. And the wood would be in reference to like the wooden cross that also many Christians also use when they were colonizing the earth. So this religion is a slave religion that was forced on us as Latinos, and the creation of a statue and having a whole day for her and serving her, that is going against major commandments within the Ten Commandments. So this is why, as a Latino, you shouldn't be a Catholic and you shouldn't venerate the Virgin Mary. So now we're going to begin debunking more aspects of the story of the Lady of Guadalupe. So the first thing I'm going to get into is that in the Bible, you know, there are patterns of how things happen. So if somebody's trying to say that this Virgin of Guadalupe appeared to the man Juan Diego, then it would need to be, and we're accepted to believe that, then it would need to be in line with how things happen in the Bible. And if not, then I'm not going to believe that. So one thing that's interesting in the Bible is that when people get messages, and one more quick information on the interactions between Juan Diego and this supposed apparition he saw. So this apparition, which he claimed to be Mary, Mother of Christ, told him to build a church for her, which is weird because she didn't ask him to worship the Most High or serve the Most High. She asked him to build a church for her, and this was apparently a really important message that she wanted to give him. But in the Bible, we see that when people are given important messages by appearances, these are usually by angels, and these are pretty much men every time. Like, it's not common for a woman to appear and give a message. In fact, I'm sure that doesn't happen in the Bible at all. So what I'm going to do is, what do I got here? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 scriptures showing angels appearing to men and giving messages. And these are all men. So I'm going to start off with the book of Numbers, chapter 22, and I'm going to read verse 23. So, yeah, the book of Numbers, chapter 22 and verse 23. And the ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. So, and I'm just gonna leave it right there. But so we see that this donkey saw an angel of the Lord in the road, and he was a man. So just proving that this angel that appeared was a man. Continuing on, we're going to go to the book of Genesis, chapter 19. And we're going to be reading verses 1 through 5. And there came 2 angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet. And ye shall rise up early, and go on your ways. And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the street all night. So 2 angels came and went and stayed the night in Lot's house, when they wanted to stay the night in Lot's house. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into his house. And he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot, and said unto him, Where are the men which came unto thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. So, more proof. These angels that came and stayed with Lot could be seen as men. Next, we're going to go to the book of Genesis, chapter 16. And we're going to read verses 7 through 13. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain of the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence camest thou, and whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man, and his hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. So it's also interesting right here that a lot of times when a woman is going to have a child that's noteworthy, a lot of times in the Bible an angel will come and appear to her and tell her about it. Verse 13, and she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God seest me. So that's what she called the angel that talked to her. For she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me? So boom, she calls the angel a him. So another instance of an angel being referred to as a male. Next, we're going to go to the book of Daniel, chapter 10 and verse 13. And we're going to read about the angel Daniel. We're going to read about the angel Michael spoken about in the book of Daniel. So we're going to go to the book of Daniel chapter 10, and we're going to read verse 13. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 1 and 20 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. So I know it called him one of the chief princes, but this is widely accepted and known to be an angel, one of the chief angels up under the command of the Most High by way of Yahushai. And so his name is Michael. So he's considered a male, I guess, entity, and he has a male name. We're going to go to the book of Luke chapter 1, and starting at verse 11, and we're going to read about the angel Gabriel. So once again, the point I'm getting is that when in the Bible there's a pattern that when things appear to people to give them messages, they're usually angels, and pretty much every time they take the form of a male. So we're going to the book of Luke chapter 1. And we're going to start at verse 11. And there appeared unto him an angel of the Lord standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled and fell upon him. So when Zacharias saw him, so once again, another angel being referred to as a male, and we're going to stay in Luke chapter 1, and we're going to skip down to verse 26. And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth. So once again, God needed a message sent to Mary, and he sent Gabriel. And Gabriel is a male name associated to this angel. And one more scripture just to prove that angels are referred to as males. We're going to go to the book of Revelation chapter 8, and we're going to read verse 3. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. So these angels are seeming like they're doing like priest-like duties. And we know that priests all had to be males, and this angel was referred to as a him. Okay, so now that we see that in the Bible, there's a pattern of messages being sent to people by male angels, and we don't even have any real evidence that there are female angels. So, but now you can say that, okay, but Mary technically wasn't an angel. If she appeared to Juan Diego, she wouldn't have been an angel. She would have been more like an apparition or a ghost, sort of say, not an angel. Well, we also have evidence of that in the Bible, and also that proves that Juan Diego's story would not be in line with the pattern that the Bible sets forth. So to talk about ghosts and apparitions, we have certain places in the Bible where dead people make appearances, and we're going to look at them and we're going to see and we're going to compare them. So we're going to go to the book of 1 Samuel, and we're going to go to the book of 1 Samuel, where King Saul tries to contact a passed away priest in order to get some I guess advice, and this is a major infraction, if you know, because that would be considered like dealing with people that have familiar spirits and necromancy, and we're going to get the laws against that. But first, I'm going to go to the book of 1 Samuel. First Samuel chapter 28. And I'm going to start, and I'm going to read verses 5 through 18 of 1 Samuel chapter 28. And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled. So King Saul's about to go to war, and he saw the other army, and he got afraid. And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, or by prophets. So we see that when the Lord wants to send a message, he'll give you a dream, he'll give you by Urim or the prophets, meaning by like the priests or people that have been given direct messages from God. This is how God talks to people. He usually doesn't send a ghost of somebody that already passed. Verse 7. Then said Saul unto his servants, Seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant saith unto him, Behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment, and he went. And the reason he disguised himself is because he's not supposed to be consulting with this person. As a matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and get that law right now. We're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 18. And we're going to read verses 9 through 14. When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God hath given thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits. or a wizard, or a necromancer. So explicitly, anybody that has familiar spirits or somebody that's doing necromancy, trying to bring back dead people, this is all breaking laws of God. So back to 1 Samuel chapter 28, verse 8. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment. And he went, and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divide unto me the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee. And the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits, and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life, and to cause me to die? So she pretty much is saying that Saul, at one point, he was following the law and getting rid of people that were doing this. But now that he's in trouble, he changed his mind and he wants to find them, because God's not giving him messages, and he's desperate for a message to win the battle. And Saul sware to her by the Lord, saying, As the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Then said the woman, Whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, Bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Saul, saying, Why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. And the king said unto her, Be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel. And he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, Why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? So when Saul is brought up, when Samuel is brought up, he asked Saul, Why did you bring me up? Like, why have you disquieted me? Saying that this is not a natural thing for a deceased soul to come back and be talking to people. So this is not a normal thing, and actually this is a whole wicked account. Saul's not supposed to be doing this, and later on Saul will be getting judged. Actually, we're gonna keep reading. And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Then said Samuel, Wherefore dost thou ask of me, seeing the Lord is departed from thee, and is become thine enemy? So the Lord had departed from Saul. So everything Saul's doing right now is based off of wickedness. As Samuel just said, that the Lord had departed from him and become Saul's enemy. So the whole act of even talking to a dead person is not right. This, even though King Saul is talking to a soul that has returned, this is not condoning that at all. And Saul actually gets punished for this and ends up dying for this and all his other disobedience to the Most High. Okay, so that's an account of somebody communicating with a deceased soul, and this is not a good thing. So now we're going to go to another account of deceased people coming back. So we're going to go to the book of Matthew chapter 17, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 9. This is the book of Matthew 17, starting at the top. And after 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them. And his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with them. Then answered Peter and said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias. While he yet spoke, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were sore afraid. And Jesus came and touched them and said, Arise and be not afraid. And when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man, save Jesus only. And they came down from the mountain. Jesus charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man, until the Son of Man be tested again from the dead. So Moses and Elias, who were previously alive a long time ago and passed, they had came back. But one thing that's interesting is that Christ, before they came back, Christ, he started shining. I'm going to read that in verse 2. And was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. So he starts shining really brightly before these before Moses and Elias appears before them. And after this whole thing is said and done, Christ says, tell no man of this vision. So we don't know if this was actually Moses and Elias coming to show up, or if it was just a vision that they had seen with their eyes and it wasn't actually an appearance. And also too, it seemed like Christ had to do that before they came to, like, he did that as a signal and he called them down. So it wasn't just them appearing to him randomly. The account of the Lady of Guadalupe, she appears to Don Diego randomly. He wasn't looking for her. So, and that's another thing I want to say. In the Bible, the deceased souls of people, the souls of deceased people do not come back whenever they want to talk to people. In this account, Christ had to signal them by glowing first. And in the other account, Saul had to go find a woman with a familiar spirit to go contact him. They didn't just show up asking for stuff. And just to conclude this, Christ out of his own mouth said to not reverence Mary. So we're going to go to the book of Luke chapter 11. And we're going to read verse 27. Okay. And it came to pass, as he spake these things, a certain woman of the company lifted up her voice, and said unto him, Blessed is the womb that bare thee, and the paps which thou hast sucked. So she's giving credit to Mary. She's saying, Blessed be Mary's womb, and blessed be Mary's breasts that Christ nursed off of. Verse 28, but he said, Yeah, rather blessed are they that hear the word of God and keep it. So when she said that, he says, yeah, but you're better off if you just hear the word of God and keep it. You don't need to do all that extra Mary worship. So Christ himself kind of downplayed reverencing Mary, but we have a whole statue for Mary erected after this man, which in my belief fraudulently said that he saw apparitions of Mary. So they erected a statue. They gave her a whole holy day. You see images of the Virgin Mary all over the place, which is against the Bible, to make images of an idol. People will have like, I forget what it's called, but they'll have like the beads and they might have her around their neck. This is all idolatry. So the conclusion of this video, Catholicism, along with the practice and tradition of reverencing Mary, these were things that were forced on our people as Latinos of indigenous descent, and therefore we should not be adhering to them. As Israelites, according to the Bible, it was prophecy that this would happen to us. But just because it was prophecy that it would happen to us does not mean that we need to continue into it and perpetuate generational curses to keep happening to us for disobeying God. So I hope you learned something in this lesson, and I want to thank you for watching, and see you next time.